Howard Stern Show.
But then, this is why I say you reinvented yourself a lot of times. You become this guy afterwards, after this fame, to become the romantic comedy guy. Mm-hmm. You were like, hey, let me try romantic comedies. Yep. Let's see how that works. And these movies are fun, and they make a ton of money, right?
They pay well, too.
And in a sense, you could have stayed the romantic comedy guy. You had the looks, you had the ability, you had the chops to do romantic comedies. But then I guess that got old, too, right?
I think what it got was... I looked at him and I was like, oh, I like this. It's a good one. I like doing these romantic comedies. Then all of a sudden I read a script and I was like, I think I could do this tomorrow.
Right.
And I was like, uh-oh. And then I was like, wait a minute, not a bad thing if you feel like you can do it tomorrow, but hang on a second. I want to do something that scares me a little bit that I'm not going, like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it.
And you can fall into a trap, right? Because people start to think of you as a romantic comedy guy and that you can't be taken seriously. Because, like, when I saw you, when you won the Oscar and stuff, I was like, wow, this guy reinvented himself. Because you were, and look at the string of Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Kate Hudson.
Ready to Launch, Goes to Girlfriend's Past.
Yeah. Look at that. Sarah Jessica Parker, you had,
They're fun. They're working out. I'm having a good time doing them. They're paying great.
Right.
I was kind of the romantic comedy go-to guy there for quite some time. And I also, so you can get, there's a brand that comes with that. There's also what I found out later is I'm also at the same time sort of getting branded as shirtless McConaughey on the beach.
Yes, that's how I started to think of you.
Absolutely.
I started thinking the guy I see in People magazine, he's always on vacation.
He's always running on the beach.
He's running around
without a shirt.
And I got to say, it was quite impressive.
And guess what? I was running on the beach every day without a shirt.
It looked like a pretty good life.
Damn, and I was like, yeah.
So couldn't the lifestyle have been do a romantic comedy, 1 or 2 a year, and run on the beach with your shirt off? I mean,
and
live happily
follow
ever
the yellow
after.
brick road, and we're all happy.
But that wouldn't have been satisfying to you.
No, I think I needed. Look, and it was also a time where I was just falling for my now wife, Camilla. So things going on, and around this time, I think maybe it's just before this, but I'm about to have our first son, Levi.
Right
now, you got children? No,
he does.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, first child.
Yes.
You ever felt more clean, clear, and masculine than the birth of your first child?
It was an amazing experience. Man. Every one of them.
And when you have it, a man should double down on anything he's thinking about in his life in those months following right when they have a kid.
Is that what happened for you? Having a kid kind of said, hey, why don't I just...
I just said, wow, look how exciting my life is.
Right.
I have more joy, I laugh louder, I have more pain, I have more sadness, but man, it's dynamic. And I'm like going, my work is not challenging as near as exciting as my life. I said,
yes,
rather be that way than the other way. But let's take some time out to maybe find some work that scares me or turns me on as much as my life is turning me on.
So you have enough money at that point, so you take 1.5 years basically off. You say no to a bunch of
I say no.
Right.
So all I'm doing is saying no to things for a while.
Is your agent saying to you at that point, what the fuck is wrong with you,
No, this
Matthew?
is a great thing about my agent, Jim Toth, and I had that conversation with him because I said, look, I'm going to change gears here. I'm not going to do any more romantic comedies for a while. I'm not going to do any action comedies.
And he doesn't say to you, you're nuts.
He says, great, let's do it. And I went, don't tell me, great, let's do it. I go,
walking away.
I've been a pretty good cash cow for you guys for a while. So on that Monday morning meeting you're about to have, and your boss is like, what do you mean McConaughey's taking on? Don't tell me it's that easy. He goes, I work for you. And that was it.
But it's also psychologically debilitating because it is a big risk. Because in Hollywood, Hollywood is littered with guys who walk away from a certain niche and you never see them again. It is a big risk in a career. In a big career, and saying no is the hardest fucking thing in the world, right? To work.
It's hard, and you also know how damn powerful it is.
See, I would think you need therapy to learn how to say no to these enticing offers to be with a beautiful actress in a movie, make a lot of money, and have a big box office success.
The scary part was I didn't know how long it was going to be dry.
Right.
Now,
you expected it to be shorter.
No, I didn't have an expectation. I mean, I had a talk with my money man. I said, I'm financially set. It's okay if I don't work. I had a talk with my now wife, Camilla, and she goes, I know how you are when you're not working. You get a little wobbly. And she goes, what if it goes on for 2 years?
Right.
And I go, I'm going to need you sitting there saying, hold the course. And so we just hunkered down. Had a first child. That sure helped me get through the days.
Right.
All right. That's a lot to work on.
Yeah.
And then... I'd say in that time, I unbranded. Now, the hard part about saying no, and I always like to say this because people go, wow, that was such a pure decision. You really are so pure. And I'm like, hang on a second. I said, no, the same script with a $5 million offer is much more well written than the same script with a $1 million offer.
That's right.
I'm not that pure.
Right.
I go, oh, this is funnier. I can make this work. I got new angles. I can do
But
the song and dance.
you ended up working with some of Hollywood's most successful directors.
Yep.
It turned out to be a really good decision, and you made some pretty damn good movies. And
In terms of directors, were they taking you seriously when you come out of that romantic comedy world into drama?
What I think is the year and a half being gone and not showing up in another romantic comedy, not being all over the pages, running on the beach with my shirt off, which I was still doing. I was just doing it where the cameras weren't. I think what I call is an unbranding stage. So what I think is some directors, all of a sudden, I became a new good idea.
right.
Hey, you know what an interesting idea would be? McConaughey. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So William Friedkin comes with Killer Joe. Soderbergh comes with Magic Mike. Jeff Nichols had already written Mud. We go do Paperboy.
Magic Mike, taking that movie, you
That
would have
was
thought
risky,
that was pretty
yeah.
risky, right? I mean, on paper, that probably looked ridiculous, right?
Now, what was risky about that? That was a no-brainer.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would have known reading that script that it would be that
didn't-
big a movie.
One, Steven Soderbergh.
Right.
He pitches it to him as a director.
Right.
Yes. Steven Soderbergh hadn't called me before then.
Right.
I've been wanting. I would love to work with Steven, and he calls. This
Right.
is a good day.
Yeah.
So then he pitches and he goes, "I got this guy. And he runs the nightclub and he's a male stripper. And if you play this he's really serious capitalist. If you play it straight, I think it could be really funny." And I'm like on my knees laughing, going, "Okay, I'm in. Just give me one line to take from this phone call just to get my imagination going on the character." And he takes a long pause and he goes, "Well," and the character's name's Dallas. He goes, "Dallas he is kind of connected to the UFOs, man." And I'm like, "That's it? Well, you just took the lid off."
The Howard Stern Show.